And I was in the hospital for about 3 weeks. And I was in UCLA and I was in Los Angeles, and they called me the miracle patient because, interestingly enough, my internal organs, from what they could see, went back together from between the first and second CAT scan.
You are listening to Veggie Doctor Radio, and this is episode number 239. Welcome to Veggie Doctor Radio. I am your host, Dr. Yami, board-certified pediatrician, certified lifestyle medicine physician, certified health and wellness coach, author, speaker, mother, wife, and human being. I passionately believe in the power of diet, habits, and mindset in sparking and sustaining well-being and joy in our lives. This podcast combines expert interviews and thoughtful monologues to explore plant-based nutrition, lifestyle medicine, parenting, mindset, and other exciting and fun topics. I hope that these episodes inspire you, uplift you, and equip you with the knowledge and tools to live your best life. Are you ready to get started? Let's do it. Hey, veggie lovers, happy Sunday and welcome back to Veggie Doctor Radio. Today, I have a plant-based chef who has been a chef for almost 4 decades, who is launching a new, innovative, and ingenious product. This is a bit of a shorter episode because we had some connection issues on her end, but I think that despite that, it will be inspiring. You'll hear her story, and then you'll hear about her cool new product that she is launching via Kickstarter. So let me tell you about Robin Jeep. Robin Jeep was trained as a chef in Europe and became a personal chef to celebrities in LA. In 2002, a serious accident triggered gut health and autoimmune issues. Searching for answers, she read Joel Fuhrman, MD's #1 New York Times bestselling book, Eat to Live, and transitioned to whole food plant-based eating in order to survive. This led her to work for Dr. Fuhrman as a dietary assistant, patient coach, and food formulator. At his clinic, she helped people reverse numerous chronic diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, and autoimmune diseases just from eating plants. Since then, she's authored the Super Antioxidant Diet book, educated around the world, launched several whole food plant-based restaurants, and formulated vegan, whole food plant-based products for Walmart. Robin has developed a unique ability to make plants taste indulgent, such as enlivened foods, mug muffin meals. And as part of this episode, my family got to sample the mug muffin meals, and they're super cool. So you've probably seen the recipes online, the mug muffin recipes. There's plenty of vegan ones. They're super easy. You have to get the ingredients, mix them in a mug, and then you microwave it. And it's a fun little indulgent treat. Usually they're pretty health promoting and lower in calories, and especially since it's an individual size, just to, satisfy that sweet tooth and maybe for a little snack. Well, Robin has developed some that are pretty much almost all whole food plant-based, no added sugar, low or no sodium, and, they're shelf stable. You can take them with you. And they're ready in like 2 minutes, which is amazing. And my youngest one, my 13-year-old, he is a chocolate lover. So I knew that if it passed the test for him, then it's a pretty good product. And so he had the cacao one. I think it's cacao cherry something that it's called. And he loved it. So the package is all gone now, mostly because Desta had all of the mug muffins, but he really enjoyed it. So in this episode, we talk about Robin's journey to a whole food plant-based diet and to a nutritarian diet, how she ended up working with Dr. Fuhrman, what she thinks is the biggest obstacles that people experience when they transition to a plant-based diet, her mission at Enlivened Foods, what is a mug muffin meal, what makes it unique, and then we talk about the Kickstarter for her company for these mug muffin meals. So the Kickstarter is going on right now. If you're listening to this in real time, it runs through from January 10th through February 9th, 2023. So if you're interested, if you're curious, hop on and join the Kickstarter. You can go to enlivenfoods.com, FOODS, and livenfoods.com, so that you can learn more about the Kickstarter and these mug muffin meals. I think these are great to have in your pantry, in your desk, at work. Take them with you when you're traveling, because they're super easy to make. All you need is a microwave. You can also put them in the oven if you would prefer to do that instead. It takes a little bit longer, but you can use that. But I think it's good to have in a pinch when you need something health promoting, predominantly whole foods, delicious, and something that can get you to that next meal where you can get all of the live, fresh veggies and fruits and whole grains and beans and nuts and seeds and all of that. So anyway, thank you so much for being here week after week, and welcome to my new listeners. I love y'all. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm so grateful to be the host of Veggie Doctor Radio so I can bring you all of this cool information. So now let's welcome Robin Jeep. Robin Jeep, welcome to Veggie Doctor Radio.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to learn more about you. So tell us about what led you to adopt a whole food plant-based diet and how it changed your life.
Well, in 2002, I had a death blow horse training accident. A horse I was training reared up and went over backwards on me and shattered my pelvis. I had 14 pelvic fractures, 2 broken hip joints, internal injuries, terrible. I had 2 arteries that were crushed, so I had serious hemorrhaging from that, and then fractured sacrum. And I was in the hospital for about 3 weeks, and I was in UCLA, and I was in Los Angeles, and they called me the miracle patient because, interestingly enough, my internal organs, from what they could see, went back together from between the first and second CAT scan, and all of the blood that was in the Foley just disappeared. So it was quite a panic in the ER during that time. But then I, had to stay in the hospital. I was very fit. I had done some whole food plant-based eating prior to that. And I was, training horses. So I was very fit, and they didn't have to do any surgery. But about 6 weeks after the accident, I started having very severe GI issues. I mean, really scary and severe. And I didn't know what was going on. I went to many, many doctors, and they just put me on proton pump inhibitors, and things just got worse, began to spiral down. And I was working as a private chef at the time, because I've been a chef for now over 35 years. And my boss handed me Joel Fuhrman's book, Eat to Live, and said, I'd like for you to start cooking like this. And, I was struggling to even work. And I did, and I started cooking like that. I thought it was weird. I thought that some of the recipes were kind of weird, but they were delicious. And I started getting some relief. So I was just gung-ho. Actually, my boss didn't keep eating that way, but I did. And I was so excited about it that I wrote a business plan summary and sent it to Dr. Fuhrman. And he and his wife, Lisa, then invited me to come live with them in New Jersey. And so that's really how I got into this, really seriously, radically into whole food plant-based eating.
Wow. So how long did it take between whenever you started adopting that nutritarian approach and when you feel that you had healed your issues?
Well, I didn't heal my issues, but my symptoms were getting better pretty quickly, like, within a few days, because I had severe constipation, just horrible pains. And so, of course, I started having more regular bowel movements, and that helped a lot. And then what I always say is that eating whole food plant-based has enabled me to stay alive, because I had some pretty serious injuries, and we don't know what's kind of scar tissue or really what is going on. I've been to numerous GI doctors and numerous scopes and so forth. So I know for a fact that I would have died had I not adopted whole food plant-based eating. And while I was living with Joel and Lisa, Joel and I were working on a book which is called Eat for Health at that time. And what in my business plan, what I told him, I said, what I think you need is like gourmet, really delicious tasting whole food plant-based food. something really exciting. And so that's what they wanted to do. That was when they really shifted to focusing on the recipes and the food and making them really, really delicious. He's very talented himself. And so, yeah, this was the book. There were two books. It's a 2-volume set. And so that's what we started doing. And he taught me, because I would have terrible, terrible inflammatory flare-ups. And so I mean, it's a miracle that I ended up there, because had I not been, there's nobody on the planet who would have known what to do with me. I would do water fasting to bring down the inflammation. And then I would blend my food. I would eat cooked foods, and I would blend my vegetables and beans and eat them that way. And so he taught me all these techniques and things to do to, modulate my inflammation, help bring that inflammation down in my gut, and which I still practice. All of those, I still have to practice this to this day, to keep inflammation down, because what it ended up turning into was like it's an autoimmune disorder. It's mast cell activation syndrome. My mast cells got triggered from that accident and whatever damage that was done to me. So I just have overactive mast cells. And so through whole food plant-based eating, I have learned how to manage this, and I help a lot of other people that have mast cell, excuse me, and different autoimmune type issues, where they want to eat whole food plant-based, but they're not able to, because the fiber and everything, starts to inflame them. So I teach them how to do that, how to transition to whole food plant-based, and maybe have to do a modified whole food plant-based diet. But basically, what I always tell people is that Joel Fuhrman saved my life, and I will be eternally grateful to that man. So,
wow, what a journey you went through. And I'm so sorry you had that accident. That was such a severe thing that impacted your life so strongly, but ultimately it's led you to where you are. So it's one of
yes,
those things in life that's so, regret, but at the same time, would you be here now doing what you're doing if it weren't for that?
no,
What an interesting path.
yeah, and it changed me into becoming a more caring, compassionate person.
Well, tell me more about the nutritarian diet and how you think it was unique in the health promotion of it. What makes it so powerful?
Well, what makes it really so powerful, and what makes it unique from really all other whole food plant-based diets, is Joel's focus. Joel coined the term nutritarian. His focus is getting the most micronutrients per buck. And for those who don't know what micronutrients are, meaning vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, antioxidants, things like that, things that don't have any calories. And that's what so many people are missing. No, people just are not getting enough vitamins and minerals from their food, because the taking vitamin and mineral supplements, and I know you know everything I'm saying, but I'm kind of saying it for the audience, is the best way to be able to absorb it, because vitamins and minerals in supplements it's harder to absorb. It's harder for your body to absorb them, especially people like me, people that have issues. And so the food, getting it from your food, your body knows exactly what to do with it. And so that is that is one of the reasons that it gives the body what it needs to heal. Now, that is one thing with the nutritarian diet. The other thing is that it wants to give you the most micronutrients for your calorie buck, at the same time to be macronutrient sufficient, adequacy. And macronutrients are your protein, fiber, protein, carbohydrates, and fat. And so you don't want too much of that. You want just the right amount of that, and then this huge abundance of micronutrients. And it's a bit tricky, because in order to do this, to get all of these micronutrients, you have to eat a lot of plant foods. And so if you fill up on macronutrients, macronutrient-rich foods, then you can't get enough of the micronutrient foods in your body, because your stomach holds about a quart of anything, liquid food. And so you've got to leave room to eat all of these fruits and vegetables.
I love the way you explain that, that you explained it very simply and easy to understand. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. And another thing to say about it. So, for example, if you eat too many, let's say, starchy vegetables or whole grains, they're wonderful. They're very good for you. They're full of nutrients, but they're not as nutrient dense as your green leafy vegetables and your vegetables. So you want to eat those things, but you eat a smaller amount of those, and you eat a larger amount of the vegetables. And so some people advocate the starch-based diet where you're eating more starches, the starchy things, and you're really focusing on that, which, it's good, but I happen to believe that Joel's plan is the best. And, with his G bombs as well. Greens, beans, onions.
Yeah. You're maximizing that nutrient density along with making sure that you have an adequate amount of calories and adequate macronutrient breakdown to get all that you need to make sure that your body's able to repair itself and build muscle and all of that. But you're doing it in a way that you're very thoughtful about maximizing these nutrients.
Yes, and one of the things that I am a testimony to it, because this is the only way I can survive. I've got to because I cannot take any kind of supplements. I'm intolerant to them. I react. So I have got to get my micronutrients from my food, and I've even had my nutrient levels checked, and they're fine. So this does work. I'm a testimony, walking testimony to it.
You have also been doing your own coaching for a while. So tell me, in your experience, what is the biggest obstacle that people experience when transitioning to a plant-based diet or changing their lifestyle habits for their health?
It is a world of highly palatable temptation, food temptation. And highly palatable is a term the food manufacturing world uses for addictive food. Basically, that's what it is. And so that's what they're looking for to sell their products, is highly palatable food, addictive food. So that's that. And we're surrounded by it. If you're an alcoholic and you go to Alcoholics Anonymous and you give up alcohol, well, you can avoid bars and you can avoid people that are drinking. It's maybe not easy, but you can do it. But if you want to give up highly addictive food that you are addicted to, you can't get away from it. And so I think that is probably the biggest. And then that's combined with today's time constraints. A lot of people literally don't have time to cook. So I think those two obstacles are they work together synergistically. So I think that's it. That's what I've seen.
Well, you created your own company called Enliven Foods. Tell me, what is your mission at Enliven Foods?
Enliven Foods, our mission is to make eating whole plants more pleasurable and convenient. And being a chef with a background, I was, an internationally trained chef with a background in making the most decadent, high-end, decadent, indulgent foods imaginable. I understand the mouth feel, the mouth palate, all of that. And so I realize that I understand also the brain chemistry and what bangs the brain, that the higher the calories, the more dopamine you produce. And dopamine is when you do cocaine, the cocaine causes you to produce a whole lot of dopamine. So, but that's our reward system to get us to eat, because primitive man needed a reward system to get him to go through the effort of eating, to eat, to survive. And so that's what bangs a person's brain. This is just one aspect. And so I understand all that. So I know how to make foods that are highly palatable, but yet very nutrient dense. And so they're not addictive per se because there's so much fiber, but you're still going to get somewhat of a comfort bang from it. And I wanted to do this because of the problems that I saw, that when people are, especially when they're transitioning, they're craving these comfort foods. And so I wanted to create these kind of really gourmet tasting comfort foods where people can satisfy their cravings. And so they're filled with resistant starch, which, slows down their dates in them, in the mug muffins and the sweet ones. Well, all of them, but the sweet ones have the most. And so I have a lot of resistant starch in there because I have beans in there, and everything's pretty much whole foods except for the almond flour and the coconut flour, which are still pretty whole. I mean, they've removed some of the fat from them so that they won't go rancid as easily. But so it doesn't give you don't get the blood sugar spike, and it satisfies you for a long period of time. You're really full when you eat one of these things. So I wanted to make something that was highly palatable and that's going to satisfy a person for some hours and satisfy that need for something really comforting. And this one, for example, the Cacao Cherry Crave, this one is really special. This is my real baby because I literally get the premium cacao beans from South America or Africa, and we grind these beans fresh. Nobody does this, and put them in here. So you get like this amazing cocoa experience. And of course, cacao has theobromine, which is a stimulant of sorts. And so it does give you that feel good feeling and it bangs your dope. It's going to bank the dopamine pleasure center. And it's like something you'd have it's as good or better than something you'd have in a French restaurant.
You've been talking about your mug muffin meals. So let's back up and talk about what is a mug muffin meal. And now for a very important message. Hey, Mama, if you are feeling frustrated about mealtime battles, worried that your child isn't eating enough or eating enough vegetables, afraid that your child is going to get some awful deficiency or disease because of the lack of diversity in their diet, I wrote a book that might be for you. A Parent's Guide to Intuitive Eating: How to Raise Kids Who Love to Eat Healthy is available in paperback, ebook, and audiobook through all major online booksellers. Did you know that most children are born with the innate ability to eat the appropriate amount of food to satisfy their hunger and support appropriate growth? Despite this, parents are still anxious and confused about how much and what to feed their children. In addition, many children are labeled as picky eaters or develop behaviors such as hiding and sneaking food. There's also a growing epidemic of dieting behaviors and eating disorders beginning at alarmingly young ages. In my book, you'll learn the 5 pillars of healthy eating, how to apply intuitive eating through all the stages of development, lifestyle habits that support healthy eating and body image, troubleshooting and problem solving for picky eaters, overeating, and dieting behaviors, how to create and foster a healthy body image in your children, how exploring your own body image and relationship with food will help raise an intuitive eater, and what foods to offer your child at different stages of development. A Parent's Guide to Intuitive Eating: How to Raise Kids Who Love to Eat Healthy, available in paperback, ebook, and audiobook through all major online booksellers. Are you ready for a fresh approach to feeding your child? For more information, visit dryami.com/book. And now, back to the episode.
A mug muffin meal is it's a mix. It's a baking mix, and you just add water or your favorite plant milk. You stir it in your mug. You put it in a mug. You put it in a little souffle dish, however you want to do it, and you stir it. And the easiest way to do it is to microwave it for 60 to 90 seconds, and it comes out. It fluffs. It comes out warm, very moist. There's nothing like it. Nobody's ever made anything like this. So the best way I can describe it is kind of like a souffle like a warm souffle, between a muffin and a warm souffle, because it has no grain in it at all. It's gluten-free. It has no added sugar. It's grain-free, and it's of course GMO free. So and you can bake it in the oven. For those who don't want a microwave, you can bake it in the oven, and that takes like about 15 minutes. So that's what a mug muffin meal is. And the reason we put meal on the end of it is actually one of these, the mug muffin meals for like a woman can be a small meal, a filling small meal. For a man, he might want two, or, a man that works out or a woman that works out might want two. But, and then we've got sweet ones. We've got this one, which is sweet potato sunrise, and it's got raisins and walnuts. This one has the cacao cherry crave, has tart cherries and the wonderful and stevia sweetened chocolate chips, but we may change that. We're working on just doing a pure cacao bean paste, which gets hard. It's like a chip, chunks, which are date sweetened. So we may switch to that. And then they've all got some shredded coconut in them. And then the chai spice has the chai spices in it, and plus some turmeric. And it has pineapple, ginger, and that one's really delicious. And then this is the savory chipotle veggie, which I tell people, you can have this as your main course and any one of the sweet ones for dessert. And we've switched over. We had before, because this is that first launch. Right now, we're just doing the launch. We had the regular baking powder in there. I mean, aluminum free, but it's very high in sodium. So what we've done, because the sodium-free baking powder was cost prohibitive, so what I did was I just went ahead and formulated a sodium-free baking powder. And so now we have sodium-free baking powder in them, so they're low in sodium. The savory one it's going to have miso in it. So it's going to get its salt from miso, which has a different effect on the body, especially for raising blood pressure. It seems to not raise the blood pressure when it's in the miso form. So this one will have some sodium in it because it's a savory thing, and it just would taste bland without it, but it's going to come from miso. So it's really interesting because it's basically chemistry what I'm doing here, and a lot of being a chef is chemistry, because you have to learn how to get certain effects from the food, and it's all about the natural chemicals in the food.
Yeah, that's super cool. Food chemistry. Well, you created this, and it really aligns with what you were saying are the obstacles, which one of them is that things need to be more convenient, right? And so this is a shelf-stable product that people can have. They can even keep it in the cupboard at work. So for those days where they weren't able to pack their lunch, or they just had to run out of the house, they have something there. They don't have to go through the drive-through or order takeout. That's not going to be as health promoting for them, but it's also yummy and filling, so that they have some time until they're able to make a plan for their next meal. So I think that that's all very smart that you were able to do that. And, I've seen recipes for people to make their own little like mug muffins, or, little mug cupcake sort of things. But you're able to take it, put it into a product so that we don't even have to go getting all the different spices out and everything. It's ready to go. Just mix it with water or plant milk and microwave it. So I think that's pretty smart.
It's really good. I mean, you could, like, let's say you're in a pinch and you can only get just a little salad. Well, you have one of these mug muffins in a salad and you'll be plenty full. You take it on the plane with you, have the flight attendant go put it in a cup and microwave it and bring it to you, and you got a great meal on the plane. So, I mean, there are just so many options with it.
That's great. So for people, do you have any tips for people that are wanting to, they're wanting to transition to a plant-based diet? They're afraid because they're afraid that things aren't going to taste as good as they're used to, especially when we're used to eating all these hyper palatable foods. What things can they start doing to make their food more delicious?
Well, sauce makes the dish. Europeans know that. And so that's what I like. My partner Mark, it makes sauces all the time for his food. I'm a little bit more restricted because of my issues, but to just get your blender out, if you're, either a Vitamix or a Bullet or whatever, and start blending like nuts or seeds. So you need the fat. You need that fat in there, and maybe throw a little date or two in there, and then throw in. I mean, you can make savory sauces, but you want to get that fat and a little bit of the sweet, and then you can put like cider vinegar in there, or lemon juice and herbs, or you can make it with berries, and you just blend up these sauces. You play around with it. Mark loves hot, spicy things, and so he does a lot of his are spicy. Like throw mushrooms in there. So you want to make these wonderful, just flavor bomb sauces, and they're so nutrient dense. Oh yeah, and Mark is saying garlic. They're so nutrient dense that you can smother your vegetables with it. You can smother your salad. You know how most people, it's like, oh, just give me a little bit of the sauce or a little bit of the dressing. No, with this, dump it on. Let it swim in the sauce. And that, you put one of those sauces on top of your steamed vegetables. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's really great. So there you're hitting that it's highly palatable. And so you're getting all that, and it just tastes wonderful, and it's so filling. And you can also put beans in it, and they have now you can get in the store, you can get like chickpea flour, and the ones that are pre-cooked, especially, you can put some chickpea flour in there to thicken it, or and with sauces, or you can put some canned beans in there, a little, like a half a cup of canned beans in your sauce. And you're just making this thing that's so nutrient dense. And nutrient density is when people are starved of nutrients, when they're not getting enough of these micronutrients, their hunger drive just keeps running and running and running. You might eat a hamburger, but an hour later, your hunger drive's running, running, running again. When you eat these micronutrient-rich foods, you satisfy your receptors, and the hunger drive stops. And you won't even think about food for hours. So that's one of the things. One of the things I also wanted to mention is I wrote this book in 2008 called The Super Antioxidant Diet and Nutrition Guide. And it's a really good book. It's got 171 recipes, and I haven't read it in a long time. And I've been reading it again. I mean, it's really interesting. It's a book I wrote, and I'm reading it like I'm reading somebody else's book. And it's pretty interesting. It's got 3 sections in it. It has the section which is some nutrition science, motivating science. Then it has the whole recipe section and the menu plans and everything about how to set yourself up to eat this way. And then it has the journey to wholeness plan, because there's a lot of psychological stuff involved with food and food addiction and everything as well. So it deals a lot with that. And it's no longer in print, but it's still on Amazon. It's kind of expensive on Amazon. I think it's 20 something bucks. But I do have the ebook. I can send you a copy of the ebook. But we are offering it with some of the Kickstarter deals, because for those who don't know about Kickstarter, Kickstarter is a platform to help small businesses launch and get funded. And you get funded by pre-ordering product. And so you go on and you'll see all these different mug muffins, and there'll be different rewards that you can get. They call them rewards. And, it'll be like a 2-pack, a 4-pack, and so forth. And then a 4-pack with an ebook, or a video course with me, or the real expensive ones are where people would come I'm near Bentonville, Arkansas. I live way out in the country in the Ozarks, and Bentonville, Arkansas is an amazing place. It's the home office of Walmart. The Waltons live there, and they've put billions of dollars into this area, and it's beautiful. And we've got a world-class museum. So they come here, and I take them through just a total immersion of whole food plant-based eating. They stay in like a wonderful log cabin type place in the woods, and we do cooking. They get cooking lessons, and and nutrition science, and we go do some fun things. So these are some of the rewards that you can get. And so when you fund it, you're not going to receive your muffins until probably May, because you order your reward. We get funded. This goes for a month. It goes from January. It would start at January 10th and it goes to February 9th. This particular what's called a campaign, the Muffin Meals campaign. And then once we're funded, we go into production. And then once we finish production, which is good, we'll be shipping probably in May to everybody. And that's when everybody gets their rewards.
Hey, are you kind of curious about microgreens and including microgreens in your diet, but you're not sure where to start and you're not sure how to do it? I love my Hamama microgreen grower. It's so easy. It's so convenient. So this is how it works. Basically, they send you the kit and it has this little seed quilt, okay? And then you soak the seed quilt in the water, and in a few days, you see your tiny little baby sprouts growing. And a few days after that, you can start eating them. And it's so fun. And you can tell them that you're eating them. And they're really happy that you're eating them. And your body's really happy that you're eating them. But here's the best part, because I've told y'all before, I'm lazy. So I don't want to have to use any mental energy that I don't need to. And they send you seed quilts every month. So you don't run out. You can change what seed quilts you want to try. So here's some examples of some of the seed quilts they have: hearty broccoli, refreshing cabbage, energizing kale, spicy daikon radish, super salad mix. You can even get wheatgrass. You can get culinary cilantro, or even hot wasabi mustard. So there's lots to choose from. They have different flavors. They're so cute and they're health promoting. So you can get a good dose of antioxidants and it's really beautiful. I also use them for garnish when I'm making soups and salads and different bowls. You can impress your guests, but like I said, it's going to be low energy cost on your part, and it's actually not that expensive either. The other thing that I use from Hamama is a green onion growing kit, which is really cool because it can decrease your food waste. So you buy the green onions, and then the little part that has the root, the white part at the bottom, you stick it in these little holes, and then you just put the water in there and it grows, and then you can keep eating the same green onions. You just go with your little scissors and you chop it off and you put it into your food. So if you want to give it a try, you've been curious about microgreens and different ways that you can grow your own food, check out Hamama. You can find it in my show notes for a link to get 15% off, or you can go to DrYami.com/shop so that you can find the link and get 15% off your first order. Happy growing! Do you love Veggie Doctor Radio, but you're sick of listening to ads? Join the Planscription. The Planscription is a monthly membership where you have access to ad-free episodes of Veggie Doctor Radio every week. But that's not all. You also have access to a monthly live Q&A with me and a monthly live book club. You'll also get access to writings and musings and free giveaways. It is such a great deal. Right now, it's only $5 a month to join the Planscription. If you want to join, go to planscription.substack.com or go to the show notes to follow the link. Join the Planscription today and join me in this plantastic community. It's amazing. And I love how you're reading your own book again. I've done that before too. I wrote a book back in 2019. And sometimes you go back and you're like, actually, this is a pretty good book. This book isn't bad. Yes. So it's nice to read your own stuff. Cool. Well, we'll tell people how to join the Kickstarter in a little bit. But before that, I just have a couple of more questions. What do you wish more people knew?
I'll tell you what I really wish more people knew. And I was really blessed with this by living and working. Then I ended up working for Joel as his dietary assistant, patient coach, and different things. And so I got to see people every day reverse horrible chronic diseases. So I believed. I mean, I had faith. I saw that this was real. That's why I'm so effective in, working with people, because I know it's real. But many people I see we're programmed to think we need heavy duty drugs and procedures to get well. And for a lot of people to think, some vegetables and some fruits, and that's going to reverse this horrible disease I have. Come on. Or, I've got cancer. Well, cancer is tricky, but it can reverse. But, different things like diabetes. No way. My doctor says that diet won't reverse this. And so I wish that people really believed, they knew in their heart of hearts that this is real and it works, because it is. It really and truly is. That's what I really wish.
Yeah, and it's incredibly powerful. It's so powerful that if you're not careful and, you're still taking medications for certain conditions, you can actually start getting side effects from those medications. That's how powerful a change in diet is. So I think a lot of people don't realize that, because they've been told by their physicians that, no, they're going to have this for the rest of their lives, that diet's not at all related to the condition that they have. And I hear that a lot from autoimmune disorders over and over. I just had a patient mom the other day who has, a couple of different autoimmune disorders. And I asked her, have you ever tried diet or lifestyle changes to help you with your symptoms? And she said, no. And I said, did your rheumatologist say that that was something that could help? And she said, no. So not even told at all that it's something that should be integrated into the treatment plan. So yeah, that's so great.
Well, big pharma might cut into their dollar.
Yeah. Well, tell me about your morning routine if you have one.
Okay, I'm going to tell you more about Mark's, because I'll tell you mine. The only things I am able to eat are mostly cooked vegetables and beans. That's it. Because I react. I go through periods of time where I can eat a little bit more, but then I start reacting again. So that's just what I live with. But I'm 68 years old. I'm going strong. I've got some serious issues. That is the power of plants. But with Mark, who doesn't have that issue, what he eats is he will make. In the morning, he gets up and he eats. He does intermittent fasting, and then usually late morning he'll start having some fruit and nuts, and then that's pretty much what he eats. And then he doesn't eat anything until late in the afternoon, or early evening. And then what he does is he'll have some cooked vegetables. He forages. He always has mushrooms. We forage mushrooms. We have a lot of mushrooms around here, and all kinds of wonderful forage stuff. So we both forage wild things. And so he'll do raw greens usually, and then he'll do mushrooms, and then I'll have my cooked vegetables, and he'll take some of my cooked vegetables, and then he makes one of those fabulous sauces and I mean, he does all kinds of stuff, but he does these and he does it quickly. This doesn't take long. He just throws it on the blender, and then he pours all that over his food, and he loves hummus. So that's pretty much what he eats. And he tries to get what are the G bombs, Dr. Furman's G bombs, the greens, the beans, the onions, the mushrooms, the berries, and seeds. So he tries to make sure he gets all of that in his evening meal. And he eats 2 times a day. And that's how I would eat if I could.
Do you practice intermittent fasting or time restricted eating yourself?
Yes, I usually do, but it just when I'm able to, when I'm in a state where I'm not having in a flare up and I can eat more variety and higher calorie foods, then I do more of the intermittent fasting. But when I go into a flare up stage, I have to eat more low calorie, low carb type vegetables and not as many beans. So when I'm in that stage, I have to eat a lot of meals, a lot of smaller meals throughout the whole day. So I just have to kind of go back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, because otherwise you can't get enough calories in if you're trying to condense your eating window too low. That makes sense.
That's correct. Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Okay, so now I'd love for you to tell us where listeners can connect with you and how can they find the Kickstarter so that they can contribute to the pre-sale campaign for the Muffin Meals? And if you can say again, what are all the flavors, the names of the mug muffin meals that are going to be on the Kickstarter and where they can find it?
Island Chai Spice, Cacao Cherry Crave, Sweet Potato Sunrise, and Savory Chipotle Veggie. And the easiest way to find us is to go to our website, which is www.enlivenfoods.com. That's ENLIVEN foods.com. And there it'll say, Kickstarter launch, or, buy these at Kickstarter, order yours from Kickstarter. And there's a link to Kickstarter. So I think that's going to be the easiest way for people to get. Otherwise, you go to Kickstarter and you go to Kickstarter and search Mug Muffin Meals. So that is what they're called. They're called Mug Muffin Meals.
Okay, and say again when the campaign runs.
It runs from January 10th until February 9th. And on our website, it'll just say buy on Kickstarter or buy now on Kickstarter, and you just click that and it'll take you right to Kickstarter. When you get to Kickstarter, you just follow the prompts, and then you'll get the rewards. You'll see the rewards, and you pick which one you want, and then it'll show you. Then you scroll down and you'll see where you put in your credit card.
Okay, perfect. Robin, this has been great. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us and dropping some wisdom about the time that you've worked with Dr. Fuhrman, all the wonderful things that you've learned about supporting your own health, but also that of clients and other people. So I'm very grateful for the work that you're doing. And I hope that people will log on and look for your Kickstarter and contribute to it. We have tried the mug muffin meals here at our house. We did the sweet potato sunrise and the cacao one. And my son, who is a chocolate lover, so he's kind of a chocolate aficionado, okay? He likes good chocolate.
Yes.
He loved the chocolate mug muffin meal, and he's already had it multiple times. So I can attest that even it's kid friendly and kids like it. That says a lot for those families out there too. Robin, I appreciate your time and thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Good luck with the Kickstarter, and I hope that you have a very plantastic day.
Thank you. Same to you.
Hey, veggie lover, I hope that you loved today's episode. Will you take a second and do me a huge favor? Please subscribe to my podcast so that you never miss an episode. You're the reason I'm here, and I want to share it all with you. Thank you for listening, and have a plantastic day.